The formation of Banking Codes and Standard Board of India. The Bcsbi has been registered as a separate society under the Societies Registration Act 1860 on 18 February 2006. The Bcsbi functions as an autonomous body to monitor and assess the compliance with codes and minimum standards of service to individual customers to which the bank agreed to. Bcsbi is not a department of the RBI. It is an independent banking industry watchdog to ensure that the consumers of banking services get what they are promised by the banks. To ensure that the board really functions as an autonomous and independent watchdog of the industry, the RBI has decided to extend financial support to the board by way of meeting its full expenses for the first 5 years. This will enable the board to reach its economic critical mass that will make it a truly independent in its functioning and take a view on any bank without its existence coming under any threat. On its part, RBI would derive supervisory comfort in case of banks which are members of the board. In substance, the board has been set up to ensure that the common man, as a consumer of financial services from the banking industry, is in no way at a disadvantageous position and really gets what he or she has been promised. The role of IBA. IBA had brought out its Bankers' Fair Practices Code in June 2004 and all member banks had adopted it voluntarily. The code was essentially a commitment to be fair and transparent in dealing with individual customers. The IBA had also separately came out with Fair Practices Code for credit card operations and Model Code for collection of dues and repossession of security to address specific concerns voiced by customers about banking practices in these areas. Code of Banks Commitment to Customers. The RBI, while announcing the formation of Bcsbi in the annual policy statement, had requested the IBA to set up a working group to draft a comprehensive fair practice code covering all the areas of customer service for uniform adoption by banks. Accordingly, the IBA had set up a working group to study the international practices and review the existing codes. The working group had examined fair practices codes adopted by bankers in other domains like UK, Canada, Hong Kong, Singapore and Australia and prepared a draft Bankers' Fair Practice Code, duly incorporating some of the finer points from those documents. The working group further refined the draft code, incorporating the suggestions from member banks and submitted it to Bcsbi. Bcsbi had made further refinements to the codes and Code of Banks Commitment to the customers was brought out. The code sets minimum standards of banking practices for banks to follow when they deal with individual customers.